Alright. Hi everybody. Good evening. Thank you, first of all, for joining me for hopefully what would just be a few minutes. It's not going to be as long as my novels, I guess you could say that, because we know how long those are. Thanks for just joining me for a few minutes to kind of see where, I'm not going to say the magic happens, but kind of where a lot of the stuff that you read from me comes from. So I'm just going to show you a little bit of the space, talk a little bit about some of these things, and hopefully kind of give you an idea of what it's like. And, writing is something that I just love doing, and I try to do it anytime I can. And it doesn't always have to be contained in a specific space. It kind of keeps going, even as you leave the house, do other things, go to work, go to school. It keeps going. But it really helps to have a space to kind of just sit down, gather all your thoughts, put them into writing literally. So that's kind of what I'm going to give you a little peek into. So without further ado, we're going to jump right in pretty much. Okay, hang on. I'm just going to flip you over. Okay. I am going to try my best not to be the shaky camera person here, but we're going to just come into this little room. This is actually a guest bedroom. It was just bare before, but I needed an office a little bit away from the noise, from a lot of distractions. My husband and I used to share an office, and that was good until, he got too distracted. You end up talking all the time, or you end up watching something together. So it was not very productive for me. So hopefully there's enough light in here to kind of give you a good look around first. It's been really hot and sunny here in Alberta for, the past several weeks, but today was surprisingly mild and gray, which is a nice break. We got some rain, which is much, much needed. So anyway, you want to check out my little wall art? I love these soft kind of Instagram-like artwork right now, so I'm kind of digging that. But we're going to start a little bit over here. This is a really old Victorian chair that my in-laws brought with them all the way from a different province in the back of their car because they can pack like nobody can. And there's Mr. Teddy. Say hi to Mr. Teddy. He's not actually mine. He's my husband's. I like teddy bears, but I grew up not really being able to enjoy a lot of stuffed toys because I was allergic to the artificial fur, and the few stuffed toys that I had growing up, they were wrapped in plastic, unfortunately, which was really sad. Everybody thinks it was such a sad childhood, but, you do what you can, right? But he's over there. I got a little table here with that little wall art in the back that says, "Love is everywhere." I love it. It looks like an Instagram picture. But I thought it was very fitting because, the kind of stories I write, right? Love has to be everywhere. I have to believe that. Otherwise, what am I doing writing about love all the time? Just a few pictures of me and my hubby. And it's a little bird cage, but no birds were harmed in the making of this purely decorative bird cage. And then here, I've got a couple of my notebooks sent to me by my mom from home. When I was younger, computers weren't really a big thing at that time. Not that I'm that old, but not everybody had a personal computer, I guess, at the time, especially not in the Philippines, where I was born and raised. So a lot of times, I manually wrote all my stories on spiral notebook, as you can see, in pencil. I was writing them with pen first, but it was really hard to, have to redo or make changes in any part of the book if they were all written in pen, So I started just writing in pencil, and then I have to like manually erase a spot if I wanted to change it. And then I would try to rewrite it and make sure that it still fits in the space. Otherwise, I would have to redo several pages. See, manual page numbers, if you can see that in the corner. It's not focusing very well, but it's there. And yeah, I covered the notebook myself. I put my little cover art. That was how dedicated I was when I was younger. I don't know, do you guys want to see this book? I can write this. This is actually in English. But this is book 1. This is book 2. Hey, look, it's Batman. Right? That is dedicated. And I wouldn't encourage everybody to do this, but I used to take this to school, and we would have these like plastic binders. They were like plastic cases. They were clear. They had a little bit of color tint to them, but yes, thanks for saying that, but I probably will. You never know. It's actually a complete story, but I might go into this, but I'll have to manually input everything into Wattpad. But yeah, I would take this with me to school. I'd put it inside my plastic case. It's probably like about this thin, the plastic case, and it would usually have my papers in it, my assignments, my homeworks and all that. And then I would put it flat on there, and I would just, every time the teacher kind of looked away, I would flip it open, and then I would like flip a page or something if I'm reading, and then I would just hide it. So it kind of looks like I was like writing notes or reviewing my notes, but really I wasn't paying attention. Kids, do not do this at home, or at school, I mean. So there's that. There's a couple of these stories, and I think there's another one somewhere in the other pile that I have, which is another story, and that one is a little bit darker actually, but it's quite different it's still a love story, but some of the characters in there aren't my usual. So anyway, we're gonna move on a little bit here to, it's not really purely defined, but it's kind of where everything goes. Is it like V&V? A little bit. There's a darker, probably more sensual side to the other story that I'm talking about. It's called The Bad and the Beautiful. And while it is a love story, there's certain things about it that explore a little bit more into the personality of the main character. So she would not be your typical, Charlotte or all the good girl type characters that I would normally write about, as you guys all know. So I'll see if it's not going to be everybody's cup of tea, even to people who are used to reading stuff from me, but, hey, a little diversity is not a bad thing. So anyway, we just have those are empty gift boxes for Tarte palettes, because I don't know if you guys follow me on Instagram, but if you do, you probably know that I'm also not just addicted to books or to writing, but I'm a little addicted to makeup. Anyway, I also have plenty of notepads and notebooks. I have a lot. Yes, I love makeup. A lot more than my husband or my wallet would like, but we've got things we indulge ourselves in, and those just happen to be mine. But anyway, I have another indulgence would be like notebooks. I have a lot of notebooks and journals. Some of them I've written on, some of them I just keep them blank. I don't know. I think as a writer, I'm always obsessed with not having like somewhere to write something down on and missing an idea or a scene and never being able to recapture that later. So I don't actually bring all of these notepads with me or these notebooks, but it's a psychological thing almost that I feel a little more reassured knowing that anytime I have an idea, I have within me, within 5 feet of me, I have somewhere to write it on. So now that we have notebooks, not notebooks, like notebooks, small tablets and cell phones and smartphones, it's definitely become a lot easier, but you've got lots of journals too. Yeah, I've got a few, and actually I used to keep a diary, and then I stopped. I I stopped having the diaries, after my mama read it and she learned all about the boyfriend I never told her about. So anyway, that was a sad story how my diary writing life ended. But there's just a little thing here I wanted to show you. It's from Wattpad. They sent it to me on Christmas. For the one place you can't use Wattpad. What do you think that is? Where can you not use Wattpad? Just, you can take it with you pretty much everywhere, but if you want to write, you can't do it church. I don't know. There might be actually a few people who've secretly put it between a prayer book or something and pretended that they were. Not that I'm saying people do that, but, if you want it, you'll find a way. But this is actually a notepad set. Another notepad, right? Because I need more. I can't get it out, I think, right now. It's a notepad and pencil, but it's all... Okay, this is a little hard doing this one-handed. Just like riding a bike, I can't do it. And I'm going to totally mangle this, but... See, it's a notepad, and it's waterproof, water-resistant, I think. And you can bring this with you in the shower. Or maybe in the tub. Just because, you never know. Sometimes when you're in the middle of the most inconvenient thing, you'll think of a great idea, which has happened to me a few times. Maybe not quite in the shower, but... do I have a P.O. box? No. I've never really thought about it, but it's an idea. Anyway, we're going to continue down here. I just love the look of this. I have a lot of notes that I've taken down from, scratch paper to napkins and all that with ideas and stuff for different stories that I have to just file together, otherwise I'll lose it. So I'm going to try to kind of file them. It's not very organized right now, but... And I have a few magazines. I am a member of the Romance Writers. And they sent me this magazine. I don't think it's every month, but it is, I think, every month actually. So there's a lot of good tips there. If you are, I'm not a professional writer, but if you are aspiring to be a writer, to do it professionally one day, or if you want to just... get a lot of tips about how writers go about their careers and, their day-to-days, their tips and all that stuff. This could really help you. And the Westward is a local one here in Alberta that I was a part of. Hey, look, another journal, because, And I've got another little box here. I don't want to show you this, guys, because this is not really related to writing, but it has all of the boxes of my makeup. And it's full. Anyway, we're going to move on to my little desk area here. This is a big desk because I wanted somewhere where I could, put down a ton of paper, if I have several notes I'm going through, and my other devices and stuff like that. So I needed a lot of space. And this is my little filing cabinet. It's fire engine red. Don't you just love it? I love fire engine red. I think it makes everything look better. Maybe not on certain things, but you know what I mean. Anyway, more journals. Most of them empty right now. A lot of filing. What do I work as? I have an office job. So I spend a lot of time sitting on a desk every day. It's a lot of admin role and a lot of business enterprise kind of stuff. So somebody's asked me before whether I'm like a business major or something like that, because some of the things that they've read in my book, I'm not, but I do have a little bit of marketing background. That's where some of that comes from. So I just have a little box with more notepads and my little side area here. This is actually a little filing area that I've just recently put together. See, I have the titles of the books that I'm kind of working on. The Mist. You guys don't know what this one is. I haven't really posted anything about it yet, but it's an idea. It's not quite fully built, but this is Paranormal. When Stars Burn. This is a new adult romance. And I've actually written like 10 chapters of this, so you never know, right? Do you guys want to see that one? And then, of course, the Mischievous Mrs. Maxfield. Just look at kind of what my notes look like. So, written on, yes, hey, you wanted to see that, want to see that book? We'll see. Well, I'm trying not to overpromise everybody, but, you know, I can only, like, write so many stories at a single time, as much as I'd like to write all of them at once, but I'll see. Sebastian's verse, do you mean, like, to write the virtue and vice from Sebastian's perspective? I don't know if that works really well. I'm not the biggest fan of reading the same exact story from, you know, the guy's perspective, like scene by scene. I'm trying not to do that too much with Brandon's journal. I'm trying to write it kind of in a similar timeline with similar scenes, but it's, you know, it's kind of giving you a little sneak peek to something that you haven't quite seen reading it from Charlotte's perspective. So, I don't know. I don't want to do a gray, kind of like Grey to 50 Shades of Grey, where it's the same story. I haven't really read the books. I probably shouldn't have an opinion about it, but you know what I mean. Anyway, so there's some notes for TMM, because sometimes it's just so random when it comes to me. Yeah, I agree, hey? That eye keeps following me around the bookstore when I'm shopping. And then, something too, if anybody wants to write or kind of organize their writing, and this may be a little more old school than what's available now, but I actually print out blank calendars. I do pick a year and months. I don't think she's read Brandon's notebook, just so you know. It's not that popular. But you know, a lot of people have done that, right? Like Jamie Maguire did it for Beautiful Disaster, kind of showing Travis's side. I didn't finish that book too. Like when I read Travis's side, it didn't get me, so that kind of didn't happen. And I think Abby Glines also has like a version of her book that has like that the perspective is from the leading man side. So it's not a completely original idea. It's been done, it's been executed well before in the past, and then there's been times when it hasn't. So I don't know. I'm gonna stick to the journal for now and see where that even goes. But anyway, going back to this, so I would pick a year and the month that, you know, the Mischievous Mrs. Maxfield would start, and then I'd plot it out what happens, which scenes go where. This really helps you, for one, see the timeline that your story takes. So if it takes 2 months, 6 months, a year, you have an idea. And yeah, I agree with you on that. And then this allows me to kind of go back when I have to mention something that a character did, like let's say, you know, a week ago she did this. I really need to be kind of sure that a week ago she did that, or at least close enough to it. And it's easier to kind of do it this way rather than having to go back through the entire previous chapters to find where I might have written that and to make sure that my timeline still makes sense. So this has just helped me work, because I have found myself before kind of mixing up my timelines, and it's not easy, but you know, you just have to do your best. So I'll put that away later, but well, I try. Thanks. So this is kind of just my little side note where I write down a bunch of stuff. This here's like my little songbook. You guys probably, if you've read Mischievous Mrs. Maxfield, you know, there's a ton of songs in there. But, so I write down a bunch of the songs that I run into in YouTube here. Sometimes when I'm not too busy, I just kind of like watch YouTube videos a lot. I would write them down here. My penmanship isn't that great here, because if I'm the only person who has to read it, then it doesn't have to be that legible. I usually understand my own writing, but... And look, candy! Because who doesn't want candy, right? I'm a sucker. And sometimes I have I like the fruity kind of like candy, but sometimes I would have some chocolate here, which is not the best idea, because can you just imagine sitting here with an open bag of M&Ms next to you and writing, kind of absent-minded, thinking you're just, I'm just munching along. Before you know it, the bag's like half empty. So, not always a brilliant idea. Anyway, so I do have a pretty massive computer. I like it because it's big and it allows me to really concentrate on it. I'll just sit down here and give you guys a perspective. As you can see, my walls are pretty bare. But what I actually really like about this is, try not to make this too shaky, but I love these firefly lights. Usually you can appreciate them much better when the lights are dark. I like sitting here on a cool early morning, if I can get up, that is. I just like to sit here and kind of, be wrapped in a nice warm blanket, sipping like a cup of hot chocolate or something like that. And then just, the house is quiet, the streets are quiet, and you just write. There's something very magical about that moment, I think, where you can do that. So it's a little challenging to do that in the summer. That's why it's been hard to write. But in the winter and the fall, it's perfect. So I usually turn off all the lights, and I just, I would be on my computer, and sometimes I'd look up, and it's as if I'm staring at a blanket of stars, right? So, yeah, it's been pretty bad here too in Alberta. We have had so many forest fires, and it's been really, really hot. It's actually been making me a little bit sick. Like, I've been lightheaded and just kind of overall uncomfortable. So it's been better, at least since yesterday. So hopefully I can get a little bit more writing this weekend. But here's my giant computer. What I like about this, and maybe I'll show you guys. Hey, Ma, one hand. There you go. Oh, look. So I do write on Wattpad's platform too, and then for some of the ones that I'm kind of working offline of, I use another tool called Scrivener. It is kind of broken down into, if you look at it, like different chapters, scenes. There's places to kind of put, a picture. If you're inspired by something, you can kind of save it here. I think you can do characters too, but this is my character for Julian Wilde, what he is, what he looks like, Star Matthews, all those things. So the nice thing about this, sometimes when I'm writing offline, if I'm not using Wattpad, is I would just hit this, and that is all that I see in my entire screen. Yes, it's actually pretty easy, as long as you don't try to do anything too fancy. You'll figure it out. But then I have no distractions, because just look at this. If I have my screen open like this, to my left, it's YouTube. To my right, it's Sephora. So this doesn't always bode well. But anyway, we're going to move on. So this is my old computer. It's called Scrivener. We can take it offline later and you can ask me. So this is my MacBook Pro. I don't use it too much anymore because it's been a little bit slower. But if I really have to go downstairs in the basement to write because it's so hot up here, I'll do it. And I'll do it with this one. And this used to be the only thing I had. All I had before I had this office was just my dresser in the bedroom. But that was a little good. I don't even know how to comment on a live stream, but I've never really done it before. So kudos to you guys for figuring it out. And so I have that, and I actually have a little thing that I bring with me so that I can keep writing. Here, let me just open this. People tell me, why did you get such a small laptop, such a small notebook? And I'm like, this is not a laptop. This is my iPad. Yes, I know. That's just a little bit of it. Not all my books, but But yeah, I have this one. I carry this with me. It's really handy. It's kind of easy to type on. So if I have to be on the go and use this, I can still write on this. So it's been really good. So I do that. I carry this with me to work, wherever. I just have a little collage with my hubby. It's an old-fashioned love letter. I love old-fashioned love letters. And look at those little Lego sets that my hubby gave me. I know, we're a bit of a dork. Anyway, we're gonna go here. So to everybody who's been saying this is my book collection, this is kind of maybe an eighth of my book collection. This is not all of it. I have probably about 5 or 6 bookshelves all around the house. I have like one next to my bed, next to the bed in the bedroom. I have 3 downstairs. Yeah, and I have this. So, and then there's a few other ones in different parts of the house. But if you guys have read Virtue and Vice, then you know some of these poetry books. Pablo Neruda. I know. I think we're all guilty of having too many books. And some of the poetry that I enjoy reading. Rumi. I know I love Rumi. And then some of these are... Well, actually, the books that I have in this section of the house are a lot of my new adult ones. I really love this, by the way, this book, The Strange and Beautiful. Sorrows of Ava Lavender. So, I got a lot of the books here that are new adult. I really went into a whole new adult phase for a while. So, some of you might recognize some of these books because I'm sure you've read some of these. I actually love this series. I love this series. And then on the little side here are my Virtue and Vice, your absolute favorite. I would love even for just myself, one day to print my books. Even if I just have one copy, I'll just print it. I can take it to the library and have them print it and bind it. Wouldn't it be awesome? I would just love to see in a bookshelf, even if it's only in my bookshelf. Yeah, I can definitely do that. Maybe I should post something like that, actually. Because I would love for you guys to read some of the books that I've really enjoyed. And some of these were manuscripts. So what I used to do is I would print the books in like normal letter size. And I would take them with me to work or something like that. And I would manually edit them with a red pen, just like a school teacher, right? So these were my Ollie Vance books. And then Her Lovely Inflictions, which you guys have never seen. I've never actually posted it. And I think some of these are Virtue and Vice. See? Book 1. Because they used to be 2 books. So I have a ton of those things. And then for the rest, I pretty much just have a lot of stationery. I know Ollie Vance. People are asking me when to put Ollie Vance like part 3 next, but you know, I was writing, I know, the red pen shows no mercy, absolutely. I used to be an editor-in-chief in school, so I kind of knew the power of a red pen. But anyway, posting to do. Oh man, what have I done? I feel like I've opened a can of worms, but it's all right. But back to the Ollie Vance one, I know people have been asking for it, and it was really, really complicated story. It became very, very complicated until I wasn't sure anymore what to do. That's kind of why it's on hold. But anyway, there's the extent of that. Just a lot of stationaries. I also went through a phase of having so many stationaries, and a lot of these are my manuscripts in here. I think this is like, that's When Stars Burn. Thank you. Awesome. So there's not really a whole lot to the rest of the space. Just in my little pad there. My little orange purse. I have a footstool that my husband made for me. Don't laugh. And this is kind of the rest of the room, really. If you guys want to have a look. I have a fan because you kind of need it here to stay alive in the summer. And I just have my DVDs in here too, because sometimes when I'm really, really bored, and I'm really, really bored. Or I just want a little bit of distraction or a little bit of inspiration, because, you know, I'm kind of running dry on the whole creative thing. I would pull out a DVD and then I would plug it into my computer, and, you know, I fast forward through a lot of things. So I just kind of want to watch my own favorite scenes and stuff like that. So there's going to be that. Some of my favorite movies. Well, this is mine and my husband's collection, not really mine. In the shower all the time. I usually sing in the shower, but the few times I have thought of things, I just try to remember it as much as I could. Yes, I know the proposal. I enjoyed it too. And oh yeah, it's getting dark here as well. All of that. There's a lot of movies. I love that movie, Sweet Home Alabama. I think it's a little after 8 here in Alberta. So let me just flip you guys back here. It's not working. Okay. Yes, I'm from Alberta. Okay, this is not doing the flipping for me here. Oh, there you go. Oh my god. Okay. So I hope that this little scene here kind of, yes, I'm Canadian. If the little hints in the Mischievous Mrs. Maxfield didn't indicate that, you know, the loony, the toque, and everything. Although to everybody who's asked me before, I was born and raised in the Philippines, and I've lived there for like 20 years of my life, so I definitely understand you guys if you talk to me in Filipino. And I still miss a lot of things about home, and a lot of the things, you know, that might reflect in my writing sometimes is still a little bit of that. So I think some of you can relate. But anyway, I hope that this, yes, go Pinas. I hope that this kind of helped you a little bit see into my world. It's nothing grand, nothing complicated, nothing too special. I think when you write, you start a story and you never really quite stop. I think you always think about it. You always carry it with you. The ideas will come when they come. You just have to find ways to best utilize those ideas. Whether it's sometimes, because I'm so bad at writing everything down, I would turn on the recorder on the audio recorder on my phone, and I would just ramble on about what I think should happen in the story. And then I would just review it for later, and then I'll remember. So that works for me. Maybe it'll work for you too. I always carry a little notebook with me in my purse, or I put it on my phone and email it to myself. There's a lot of, thank you. There's a lot of ways that you can keep writing. It doesn't have to start the moment you walk through the door of your writing area, and it doesn't stop after you walk out. So, just keep going. I've gone from a generation of not really having the convenience of a computer or a smartphone with you all the time. And I learned old school, and a lot of that's still reflected, and I still handwrite notes, all of that stuff. So, do your own thing. You do you. And you guys have taught me so much new lingo. It's amazing, the things I pick up from the comments from everybody. And I try to incorporate them into some of my writers' dialogues. But I don't know, I hope it sounds natural. But anyway, just, if you enjoy writing, keep at it, whether you're in a small, cramped little apartment, or you're doing it on a floor covered with books in your dorm room, or, whatever is your fancy. Just do it, enjoy it, love it. You're going to be really good at it if you have your heart in it. And if you have to enjoy the stories you write, I think that's the best way to do it, because you have to love your characters, even though you sometimes want to, bash them in the head a little bit, you still have to like them. You have to root for them. You have to believe in them. And you have to enjoy the stories that you write, because that would be really, like, that would be to me the key to write something that people might enjoy too, because, you know, we're all pretty relatable to each other. We just, those things that set us apart aren't as defining as we think they are sometimes. So hopefully, I gave you a good idea. Do you guys have any questions? Like, we can do like a 5-question thing if you want, and I can answer right now before I let you guys go to bed, because it's probably past your bedtime. Yes, I'm here talking. I know I don't respond to a lot of emails all the time, because for a while my email was inundated with messages to a point that my computer froze from like loading all of the emails. At the height of the Mischievous Mrs. Maxfield. It was crazy. I was running out of memory and everything. So, and I appreciate it. I see a lot of them. I just can't get to them a lot. It would be great if I didn't have, like, you know, other things to do. But life kind of goes on for most adults. So that's where we're at. But what were your questions? I probably wasn't looking at the screen when I was like talking, so I missed some of them. But if you guys have any questions, maybe. What's your job? It's kind of hard to really describe, but I have a desk job. It's, you know, it's a corporate-y kind of, well, not corporate-y kind of job. I'm not some kind of like hotshot executive, but it's a lot of admin and a lot of business stuff. Are you selling your books online? No, I'm not. I've thought about, you know, reaching out to publishers and stuff like that, but you really have to be dedicated and really invest a lot of time into doing that. So when are my CBB books coming out? I'm currently working on Oliver and Vivian's story, so hopefully this fall I'll start some of it. I don't know, what else? Do you guys have any more questions? I don't want to keep you forever here, you know? Let's get back to real life. But yeah, hopefully there'll be more time in the future to write, especially as it gets a little bit cooler. And please publish your books. Yeah, I wish it was that easy. I wish I could like flick my fingers, or, you know, find a Brandon to finance my books, because he's too generous. And if you're anything like Charlotte, when will I be in Periscope again? Or will I be? I don't know. This is actually quite a cool medium to do. So if I don't feel like typing anything, then I'm just gonna like turn the camera on and talk to you guys for a little bit, and then you can live comment. We can do this again for sure. A guide to write a good book. I don't know that there's really a guide. I just kind of did my thing, but yes, I am on Twitter, so you can find me there. I'm on Instagram too, and Facebook. So anyway, I think I've taken up enough of your time. But thank you again for joining me. I know it was a little short notice. I didn't really think about like telling everybody until 3 days ago, but thanks. And if you do have any questions or comments, message me on Twitter or on Wattpad or Instagram or other social media. So thank you, and I hope you guys keep reading. Thanks. This was actually really scary for me in the beginning, but it turned out to be pretty good. So thank you, and I hope you guys stick around for the next books to come in the future. High five. Oh, was that really corny? Wasn't it? Anyway, thank you. That is high praise. So, good night, everybody, and I hope you have a good rest of the week. High five. What's brofist? Charlotte's not here to tell me what brofist is, but I bet she knows. So, good night, everybody. Love you. Mwah.